Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, faculty members, parents, and most importantly, the graduates of the University of Cape Town. It's a great honor and it's a great thrill to address you today. Much has been made of the swims which I do in the freezing waters of the Arctic and the Antarctic. And so I thought I would tell you one story of my swimming career from a much warmer place, from the middle of the Indian Ocean. Of all the oceans in the world, the kindest, the most benevolent, the most wonderful to swim in by a long way is the Indian Ocean. And in the middle of the Indian Ocean is an archipelago, a group of islands, hundreds of small islands. This country is called the Maldives. For those of you who have been to the Maldives, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. This place is paradise. You imagine golden beaches and palm trees and coral reefs. This is the Maldives. The problem with the Maldives is that these are the lowest lying islands in the world. The majority of them are less than half a meter in height. And now as the polar regions are beginning to melt, sea levels are rising, this country is beginning to disappear. And here's the hard inequity of it. The people of the Maldives have done virtually nothing to cause climate change, but now they are facing it on a daily basis. I felt so strongly about this that I decided to do a swim across the whole country from island to island to island to highlight what is going to be happening to these people. The former president of the Maldives recently attempted to purchase a piece of his neighboring country, Sri Lanka, to move his people as and when his country disappears. He's a modern-day Noah. I felt strongly about what would be happening to these people, so as I said, I decided to swim across the whole country. The first person I telephoned was a former general in the British Army called General Tim Toynbee. He had been retired from the British Army and he was a great friend of mine. He accompanied me on a number of different swims and helped me undertake them. It was early January. It was obviously raining in Britain when I telephoned him. And so it didn't take him long to say, yes, I'm coming with you to the Maldives. And so we flew off to the Maldives and we started this swim. I will never, ever forget the first day because I dived into the ocean and it was 29 degrees centigrade. And it was literally like I had dived onto the set of Nemo. Underneath me are all these beautiful tropical fish. The colors are amazing, the blues and the golds and the yellows and the reds. Underneath me are turtles and manta rays. And then there's a coral reef which extends from this island all the way for 10 kilometers to the next island. And so I put my head down and I swam in paradise. And I swam for day after day after day until we got to day 8. And on day 8, we had to get across a narrow channel. And in these channels, you often have very, very strong currents. Anyway, halfway across the channel, the general came to the side of the boat and he said, "Stop swimming, Lewis." I trod water and I said to him, "What's happened?" He said, "Lewis, the rudder on the back of the boat which steers the boat, it seems to be broken. Just tread water, I'm going to try and fix it." And so he dived into the water and he was heaving and he was pulling and he was pushing this rudder. He couldn't sort it out, so I tried to help him. Very, very quickly we realized that we weren't going to be able to fix this rudder. It was completely broken. We climbed onto the boat and then he got onto a radio and he radioed through to the capital city, Male, to try and get somebody to come and rescue us because we were in the most remote part of the Indian Ocean. As he was on the radio, I noticed that our boat was beginning to drift. I looked at where we were drifting, and over there on the horizon is a coral reef. Now we're in very, very deep water. We can put the anchor down, but it won't make a jot of difference. We can't steer the boat because the rudder is broken. We've still got a bit of time, but if we don't fix this, we are also going to be a shipwreck. As the general was on the radio, I looked behind him, and behind him was an island. Behind that island is what appeared to be a very, very large yacht. Now, when we arrived in the capital city, somebody told us that Roman Abramovich had a yacht in the Maldives. Now, for those of you who perhaps don't know who Roman Abramovich is a Russian. He's a multi-billionaire, and he owns Chelsea Football Club in England. And so as the general put down the radio, I said, "General, turn around, turn around." He said, "What is it?" I said, "Look over there behind that island. Look at that yacht." I said, "Imagine if that is Roman Abramovich's yacht." And he sails past us now and he stops and he says, "Lads, let me take care of this. Why don't you use my yacht? You know, dreams are for free, right? The general looked at me and says, give me your mobile phone. I say, what? He says, Pugh, give me your mobile phone. I gave him my mobile phone and I listened to one of the most extraordinary telephone conversations I've ever heard in my whole life. He called London. He called a young lady called Victoria Cork, who is the marketing manager of the sponsor, Investec. This is the way the telephone conversation went. Victoria, good morning. It's Timothy here. I'm in a spot of trouble. I wonder if you could please help me. He said, I want you to take down this grid reference. Now, what I want you to do, Victoria, is I want you, please, to telephone the manager of Chelsea Football Club and ask the manager of Chelsea Football Club to please call Roman Abramovich and ask him if that is his yacht over there at this grid reference, would he please immediately start it up and come and rescue us as quickly as possible? Any questions, Victoria? Well, you could imagine what I was thinking, right? I was thinking, yeah, right. Let's see this happen. Less than half an hour later, we see the engine of this boat start up. It starts steaming towards us at full pace. It's a large yacht. On the front is a place to put your helicopter. On the back is a place to put your second helicopter. On the front is a Danish captain. He screams out across the water, I have just received a telephone call from Mr. John Mann, who is Roman Abramovich's number 2 in Moscow. I have been instructed to hand you this yacht. Gentlemen, where would you like to go? Well, we had 3 rather magnificent days in the Maldives. I finished the swim as quickly as I could. There was huge amounts of media attention, principally because Roman Abramovich came to rescue us, but nonetheless, everybody was absolutely delighted, except one person. Except one person. And who was that? That was me. Because for the last 3 days of that swim, all I was asking myself was, Lewis, why did you not pick up the telephone and call Roman Abramovich? Why did you deep down in your stomach not believe that Roman Abramovich would come and rescue you in those circumstances? Where did that limiting belief actually come from? And that's the dangerous thing about limiting beliefs, and that is that sometimes we have them and we don't even realize that we have them. Later on, we're sailing back to the capital, and I walk up to the general and I said, General, did you honestly believe that Roman, he's Roman to us now, that Mr. Abramovich would come and rescue us? And he said something to me which was absolutely illuminating, and at that moment in my life was completely transformational. He said, Lewis, I'm a lot older than you are. He was 69 years old and retired. He said, I'm a lot older than you are, and this may sound like real nonsense, but I have always gone throughout my life honestly believing that every single person wants to help me. How empowering is that type of mindset, because so many times in life we think that people actually don't want to help us, when actually it can be and often is the complete opposite. But what I want to do now is I want to bring that story from the Indian Ocean and I want to relate it to you, the graduates of 2018. What was that story really about? Well, today you graduate from one of the finest universities in the whole world. You're all very bright. You have all worked very, very hard and you can all apply yourself. But if there's one factor, just one factor which will determine whether you're able to achieve your hopes, your dreams, your ambitions, I think it is this one factor, and that is your limiting beliefs. I will just say this. I have never met anybody, even the most gifted people in society, who don't have some limiting beliefs. The point is, throughout your career, you need to be able to identify what your limiting beliefs are and keep pushing them away, and keep pushing them away, and keep pushing them away. And when you are able to do this, you are able to achieve things which people say are impossible to achieve. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very, very much.